want you to meet Scott Almes, the person behind the Tiny Epic series.
Hi, happy to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is our first Essen, so I'm very excited. We're actually nearly sold out of some of our games, so it's been going very well for us, and it's only Friday.
And as I understand, well, you're mainly in this booth, though you have games in two other booths, so altogether three booths, kind of.
Yes, yeah, I have a couple other games at the show as well, yeah. But
Okay.
this is the main one.
Can you tell me just a few words about yourself?
So my name's Scott Almes, as we went over. By day, I'm a mechanical engineer. I work in the railroad industry, and then at night, I design board games.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Your daily job, the product engineering, is it helping you with designing games?
Yes, very much so. So I'm a product development engineer, and board games are just another product to develop. So a lot of the principles I do on my day job, I get to do on my night job as well. Yeah.
And can you tell me what could you name the hardest part of being board game designer?
The hardest part of being a board game designer is focusing on a particular game, because you have way more ideas than you know what to do with. So learning to focus and actually just complete one game is very hard compared to doing every single game you want to do.
I just think maybe that's not the hardest part for all designers. Maybe that's just your thing. Maybe you have so many ideas.
It's actually a very common problem. If you talk to most designers, they're going to say a very similar thing.
Okay, I should ask some more questions like that. Is there any design that you're particularly more proud of?
Right now, I'm particularly proud of Tiny Epic Galaxies because it's been the most well-reviewed game I've ever done. And we've had people coming up all day at the booth saying how much they love it. They got their Kickstarter copies only a couple weeks ago, and they actually brought the games here just to get them signed and to meet us. And it's just been going over very, very well.
And you have some left, right? Okay.
Very few, but yes, some.
Well, we don't know, we might end up buying it as well, so it just depends on it. Okay. Were there maybe any other designs that you were surprised, like either positive or negative reaction?
Every game's a little surprising. For example, I did a game that's on Kickstarter right now called Great Dinosaur Rush, and I was very surprised to see how many people came out just because they love dinosaurs as a kids, that they are really interested in the game.
Okay. Well, by the amount of the games that you have, I would say that you have been designing for ages. Though, I even wrote down the numbers. First game, 2011, published. Second game, 2013. Then next, starting from then, 3 games in 2014. And this year, already 6 published games, so they might come some more, at least 6. Maybe I didn't do the math. So, how do you do that?
Well, whenever you're first starting out as a designer, you have a lot of different games in the works, and as soon as you get the first one published and you get to know people with the industry, it just gets easier to work with people. So, for example, whenever I got my first game published with Gameland Games, our first Tiny Epic game, we then had a relationship, so we're just going to keep bringing them out as often as we can. So having that existing relationship really helps whenever you're trying to get a game published, because I already know that I can work with them on the game before I even start.
Okay, great. So, and if I do the math, then next year it should be 12?
Oh, I don't think it'll be 12.
Well, yeah, if you just do the math, 3, 6, 12. Okay. All right. Where all these ideas come from? Well, thematically, all your games are really, really different.
It's because I like to play all different kinds of games. I also read a lot, so I'll get a lot of game ideas from when I'm reading particular books. And since I like to play all different kinds of games, I like to design all kinds of games. I like small box games like the Tiny Epic series. I also like dexterity games and creative games. So, yeah, I like to do all kinds of games.
I meant at this particular moment, I meant thematically, but that's fine. You can actually answer it. So, you have been with your, let's say, short career. You have been worked with so many different publishers. I counted at least 7. Like, can you tell me the difference with working with different publishers?
Yeah, I mean, they're all different. Some publishers like to do more development than others. Some like to change themes or art, but they're all great to work with. Some, whenever they sign a game, they want to publish it in the next 3 months. Some don't want to publish it for the next 3 years. So everyone's different. Some publishers are a lot smaller. For example, when I started with Gameland Games, it was just one guy, Michael, and he was working part-time. And now even since we started working together, they now have 2 people who work full-time in the company. Other games have 5 people on their staff, and some only have 1 part-time person. So every publisher is very different. But they all know each other, and they all love working with each other, so there's almost everyone's friends in the industry.
But how do you choose the publisher for your game?
A lot of times I'll meet them at conventions or talk to them online and get to know what kind of games they like. After I know what kind of games they like, I try to match something that I'm working on, particularly for them.
Would you like to actually be, for example, the lead designer of one particular company? Wouldn't that be easier?
The problem is I like to design so many different games, and every publisher likes different things. So, for example, Gameland Games loves the Tiny Epic line, but a large dexterity game might not be what they want to do, so I would have to go to a different publisher for that. So different publishers like different games, and I like to design all different kinds of things.
We figured out one particularly interesting fact about you and your games. I have again a small list of the games. So there are the games like Great Dinosaur Rush, Tiny Epic Kingdom, Kings of Air and Steam, Big Easy Business, Best Treehouse Ever. What's so grand in your names?
I guess I like just to say they're the best games ever whenever I go in. I like big, ambitious titles whenever I pick names for the games.
But did you personally notice that you have something grand in your in the names of the games?
I had it pointed out to me. I didn't notice it first, but eventually people pointed out that I have the same cadence in all my names.
No, actually, that, in my opinion, that's cool. That could be your, I don't know, business card or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. A bit earlier today, we bought. We had to decide really quick because there were like 4 copies left of the looping. So we had to decide like right away, like right now, do you want it or not? We bought the game, but can you tell us about it? Can you sell the game to us now?
Yes. Yeah. So Loop Inc. is a time travel game. What's unique about this game is that you're working for a time travel agency where you send customers back in time. It has a unique mechanic that whenever you play through a round, those actions that you play in the round are going to have to be repeated on later days. So the 3 actions you take on day 1, you're going to have to play those same 3 actions in the same order on day 2. And then everything you play on day 2 are going to have to be repeated on day 3. So the decisions you make on the first round, you're going to have to deal with on the later rounds. Because if you cannot perform them correctly, you can cause tears in this space-time continuum. So it's a big brain burner whenever you play. It's very tricky, but it's very fun. It's a very thematic time travel game.
I've heard that this is kind of a family-friendly, and then I heard that it's a brain burner. So why people tell it's different? And which one is more? When we bought the game, it was told it's more like a family game, but you tell it's more like a brain burner.
Because it's very, very easy to learn. Like something like checkers or chess, where the rules are very easy, but it's very hard to master.
Okay. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds even better than before we bought. Can you tell just a few words about the Great Dinosaur Rush?
Yeah, so the Great Dinosaur Rush is a historical game that's themed around the Great Dinosaur Rush, which is whenever there was the great paleontology race in America. They discovered more species in the smallest amount of time than any time in history ever. But the paleontologists at the time were really nasty to each other. They would do things like dynamite dig sites to make sure that no one else can dig dinosaur bones there. They would hire guards to scare away their rivals. And we made a game with that theme. So one neat thing about the game is that when you dig up dinosaur bones and they're colored wooden pieces, and you can actually use these pieces to build a 3-dimensional dinosaur bone. So you actually get to build your own dinosaur throughout the game.
Okay, great. Well, we backed it, so no, it's good. It's good to know a bit more. There is a 4th game you're working on Tiny Epic series, right? Tiny Epic West.
Yes. Yeah, Tiny Epic Western. Yeah, that's it.
No, well, something else maybe? What's gonna be it's about?
So it's going to be a combination of worker placement and poker. So yeah, in the American West.
Wow. Well, it makes my brain work now.
It works.
Okay, okay, wow, that's interesting. Anything else maybe you're working on right now? Something you could hint or maybe intrigue us?
So next year I'm going to have Island Hopper coming out with Eagle Griffin games, and that's going to be a fun one. It's a mix of dexterity and negotiation. And we also have more Tiny Epic. There's going to be plenty of Tiny Epic games in the future.
Tiny Epic Games or expansion?
Both.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, really. It's a Tiny Wolf, and we feel like stealing you from the crowd, from the fans. Thanks a lot for your time.
Oh, thank you very much. This was really fun. Thanks.